Ladies and gentlemen, I have a question for all of you. Does your blood not move? Does your blood not move? Well, you may be thinking, of course my blood moves. My blood moves through my legs, my arms, my body, everywhere. Is that a crazy question? Okay, all right. Now keep that question in the back of your head. We're going to come back to it later. You see, look at this room. Look at this huge building. Look around. You see these walls? You know what else has walls? Classrooms have walls. Now, what is the whole purpose of a classroom? The purpose of a classroom is to educate men, women, and children across the world to thrive and better their society and become better individuals. Well, classrooms are everywhere. And that was the story of Maryam in Somalia. Now, Maryam was a student, a med student. She was brilliant. She was working, grinding years and years and years to become a doctor, and that day was almost there. It was the day of her graduation. It was a day so great that her dad flew all the way from London to Mogadishu, Somalia, just to witness this beautiful day. Well, the man that came for a graduation ended up attending a funeral. Yes, that day, Maryam and 500 other beautiful women, bright, young, and educated women, were massacred by a terrorist organization on that city. You see, lives were taken away. Hope was destroyed. Now legend says that there was a bunch of villagers in Somalia. They were going to the village. They entered the village and they saw so many people crying. They're like, what's going on? What's happening? Why is everyone crying? No one answered them. So they went to the village elder and they said, what's going on? What happened? The elderly man said, nothing. Nothing happened. And he was right. Because nothing happened. No social media outcry, no hashtags, no celebrities coming out making speeches. Nobody cared. The international media, where if the attack had happened anywhere else on the world, they wouldn't stop talking about it for weeks. But in this situation, where was their morality? Why was the scope so limited? You see, this is a very, very sad event. This reminds me of another sad event. Let's take a walk down memory lane to when I was in 3rd grade. I was in Canada. It was the time of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Now you see, I was in 3rd grade. I just finished my dinner one day. I had a toy. I was walking towards my TV room. So I'm walking, and I stop. And the thing that I see is something I will never forget. Something I will always remember. On the TV screen, my eyes were glued to a mother holding her 3-year-old child, covered in blood, dead, with tears going down her cheeks. I just saw something horrible. I just saw something terrifying. Now, I cried myself to sleep that night. And the next day, I woke up and I said, I need to tell somebody. I need to tell the people what I just saw. So I go to my friend and I say, yo, I saw this horrible thing. He goes, oh, damn, that sucks. Let's go to recess. Damn, that sucks? I just saw someone die, man. Damn, that sucks. Is that all I'm gonna get? Is that all he cares about? And you know, it's funny because in that same community, 2 months earlier, there was a murder and everyone talked about it for weeks. So why did we care about that man, but why don't we care about that child? You see, where is our morality defined? And it's sad because this whole situation, these whole sad situations, our media always decides to be limited and always decides to be filtered. Now, so many years, I thought that these people, they're horrible people. They're crazy and they don't have any morality or heart whatsoever. But then I thought, wait, what's so special about me? I mean, I'm the same person. What's about me? Why do I care about this kid and why doesn't my friend care about him? Well, I'm like, I'm not from Palestine, so that couldn't be why. I haven't been to Palestine. Well, maybe I thought, I'm Muslim and he's Muslim and my religion, so maybe, but that couldn't be it because there's so many Muslims that don't care. So after a while, I was thinking and I'm like, I turned to one thing that gives me definite answers, and that thing was science. Now, science says that morality, empathy, isn't something that comes out of the womb. It's something that you develop. Develop how? Through personal connections. Something happens to you or your family or around it, and you develop that connection. That is why you feel empathy. Now, I was like, that's crazy. That's a crazy thought, that empathy. So where did I develop my personal connection? That happened when I was talking to my dad, and I realized, he told me a year ago, a year before the event, we had sponsored a Palestinian family in Gaza. And that family had a 9-year-old girl, that's about the same age as me. And her name was Fatima. Now keep in mind, I don't know anything about politics. All I know is that there's just some girl, just like me, halfway across the world. And I saw her as a lost cousin, or a sister, someone far away that I knew. Well, it was all good until when the news came that airstrikes on Gaza had increased. We were told to expect the worst. To this day, we have no idea what happened to that girl and her family. You see, that was it. That was my personal connection. Now, if we think about these personal connections, you see, it's about morality, right? Well, look at all of you. Look at me, us. When it's your family, when it's your people, your country, we're always concerned. We're always staring at the news. We're always making Facebook posts. We're talking about it. But when it's someone halfway across the world, we don't care. I mean, you say you care, but do you really? Do you really care? Because if so, then your actions define you better than your words. And your actions mean nothing if you don't actually do something. Sure, you could care about those people. What are you doing about it? Are you raising your voice? Are you doing anything? And you see, that's something that's very important. And I want to tell you guys a story, a personal connection about an issue that I think that you can change your mind on. That is the issue of refugees. So this is 2 years ago. We were on a school trip, me and a couple of my friends, in Greece, Athens. So we're outside an Egyptian restaurant, amazing food. We're eating, and a man comes up to us. He says, "Assalamu alaikum." We said, "Wa alaikum salam." He said, "Hey guys, I heard you speak Arabic, and I was just listening on, and I just wanted to ask, could you guys give me five euros?" Now, we all looked through our wallets. We couldn't find anything because we just came the day before. We didn't have any change. So we said no. The guy said, "Thank you." He left. So as he left, my friend Aziz, he was looking through his bag, and he's like, "Oh, he found the 5 euro bill." He said, "Arham, go run and get that man his money." I said, "Okay." So I got the bill. I went to the man. I gave him it. He said, "Thank you." I said, "Thank you." And we left. So I was walking back, and each step I take, I feel something in my pocket. I take out my wallet. Here I have large sums of money. But what am I going to do with this money? Am I going to buy clothes? Or am I going to buy shoes? I mean, that's a thing these days, right? Clothes, shoes, all this stuff. Is that important? Does that matter? What could I possibly buy that he won't need, that he doesn't need? And that's where I thought, you know what? I took out some money, and I went to the man. I ran back to him. I tapped him on the shoulder. I'm like, "Wait, here you go." I said, "Here you go." He said, "No, I'm not going to take that money." I was like, "Wait, no, I think you don't understand me. I'm giving you the money. Can you take the money?" He said, "No." I said, "You're going to take this money." He said, "No." I said, "You're going to take this money." He said, "No." I said, "I swear to God, you're going to take this money." He said, "I swear to God, I'm not going to take this money." And then we stopped. No one talked. He embraced me, and a grown man started crying in my arms. A grown man, double my age, was crying while he was hugging me. He said, "I'm not like the rest." I'm like, "I'm not like who?" He said, "I'm not like the rest of the refugees that come here and create problems." He said, "I had a family. I had a job. I had children. Everything I had, and it was taken away from me." He asked me, "Where are you from?" I said, "Pakistan." He said, "Where do you live?" I said, "Saudi Arabia." He said, "When you go back to Saudi Arabia, tell them that your brothers and sisters in Syria are dying." And that is the plight of that man. Now that man's name was Ahmed. But this isn't the story of just Ahmed. This is the story, according to the UN, of 65 million people. 65 million. That's a huge number. Now, isn't it sad that, me having a citizenship of a certain country and him having the citizenship of other country defines whether or not I can enter a place or whether I get to live? With all due respect, is it too hard to ask? Is it too much to ask that this piece of paper is the sole factor deciding whether my family will get to eat tomorrow, whether my family will get to live tomorrow, or my children will not be killed? Isn't it crazy? And you know what's worse? When you look at the statistics, when you look at the amount of people in the world that don't understand this, they don't like refugees. Look at these numbers. More than half of these countries, their citizens don't like refugees. Now, I'm not picking on these countries in particular. I just have data for those countries. It's not just there. It's in this region. It's in here. All of you, me, us. This is a worldwide phenomenon, and the world itself is getting radicalized. It is getting polarized, and we are dividing ourselves, building up walls and telling that other people are different from us based off X, Y, and Z. Well, my solution to this, is through unity and tolerance. Unity and tolerance. Two very important things. Now, when we talk about unity, idealists always talk about, unity, we should be united, blah, blah, blah. Unity between nations, countries, religions. They talk about unity between the US and America. US and Russia. Talk about unity between my country, Pakistan and India, North Sudan, South Sudan. Okay, but what is unity? Is unity to say that we're all the same? Is unity to say that we're all one? What is unity? Ladies and gentlemen, is unity an umbrella of love and happiness and care? No! Unity doesn't mean that we hold hands together and sing kumbaya. Unity does not mean that we're all the same. In fact, that is exactly what the people that don't like refugees want. Their whole argument revolves around the fact that we're not the same. They want you to believe that that person's different than me, so then that's why we're not going to treat them the same. But you know what? They are right, but not in the way that they think. Because real unity doesn't mean that we're the same. Real unity means that you and me, we are different. You and me, we do have a different culture. We do have a different religion. We do wear different clothes. But despite that, despite everything, we can live together. We can work together. Not as one, but as equals, side by side. Promote tolerance, not assimilation. Don't tell people that refugees are the same. Tell them that they are different. And that is exactly what makes our society stronger. And honestly, tolerance, it starts with you. It starts with me. One person, if they can change their mind today, then what does that say? That means that tomorrow another person can change their mind. And the day after, another person can change their mind. And after a year, perhaps millions of people can change their minds. You see, an example, tolerance takes time. Well, this is an exhibit in Washington, D.C. It's an exhibit of terrorism. More specifically, an exhibit of one of the world's worst criminals, Osama bin Laden. His heinous crimes against the United States and against innocent people. But, see that dress? Does it look familiar? That dress up there, why is it there? Was it because Osama wore this dress? Was it because the terrorists wear these dresses? Why is it there? Well, it says small in the caption, it says, oh, this happened to be the dress worn by the reporter that went to Afghanistan and interviewed these people. What? Isn't that crazy? Why is the dress of 230 million people in Afghanistan and Pakistan, their day-to-day dress, associated with one of the world's worst crimes? Isn't that the biggest example of ignorance? What does that teach? What is the association? You see, tolerance, it takes time. And tolerance has many examples. Maybe one of them is that a 17-year-old boy from the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, the son of Canadian immigrants, the grandson of Afghan immigrants, can come up to you, standing here, proudly wearing a shalwar kameez, and still be taken seriously, and still have his opinion considered. Maybe that is tolerance. Ladies and gentlemen, uplift your voices, empower your media, because if we do not do that today, then the 65 million refugees, people like Maryam, people like Ahmed, people like Fatima, they will ask, where were you when we needed you? Where were you when your brothers and sisters could not eat? Where your brothers and sisters could not live? Because if we do not take a stand today, then tomorrow we will be refugees. Our children will be refugees. Ladies and gentlemen, if from this whole talk you have to take one thing alone, and that is to open your borders. And no, I'm not necessarily asking you to open the borders of your countries. I am asking you to at least open the borders of your hearts. Because maybe then we can start to achieve something. And maybe then we can work towards a better world. Thank you.